Hey, what's up, Shining Otaku? It's Cloud9
And then,
and this is Shining Spotlight, the stream where we highlight creatives in the industry in order to inspire you guys. Today we have an incredibly talented animator straight in Japan. He's worked under the tutelage and animation director Hiromasa Ogura, animation director of Ghost in the Shell. He's also worked on other famous works as a background artist, such as Gundam, Bleach, Black Butler, and even more than that. He's also been breaking down many barriers in the industry within Japan and has since founded an animation house within Japan, which is known for several different works such as Sturgill Simpson's Presents Sound Theory, which is on Netflix, and Exogenesis and Teflon Flunk. Today we welcome the anime director and CEO of Dayart Stagio, Arthell Isom.
welcome,
Oh,
welcome.
thank you. Hello, everyone. Nice to be here. Yes.
No, I like the name Dayart Stagio. I'm trying to make sure I say it the correct way because a lot of times I've always been saying like Dart, and I'm sure that's
Yeah,
what a
yeah,
lot of people
yeah.
have been saying. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I've actually heard you say Dayart, so I'm like, you know
Yes,
what?
yes, yes.
I don't
Yeah,
want to
you
screw
actually
it up.
said it right. So I was surprised. I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. You're like probably the first person that said it correct. So I was like, okay, cool. You said they are. That's pretty tight. I appreciate it. Actually, my last name, though, you said incorrectly. My last name is Isom. Yes,
Isom.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Well, I apologize for that,
Yeah,
but
no, no worries.
it sounds like it's is that French or?
Oh man, I wish I knew what it was. It's a product of I'm a product of our legacy. I
Well,
have no idea where my last name is.
you're beating our last name. Our names are just Johnson. But in any case, we don't have a lot of time today, but we want to ask you a lot of interesting questions because Day Art Saggio is really on the roll right now. It's the first and only black owned manga studio or Japanese animation studio. And you've worked with other manga studios, like you've worked with, in this case, you've worked with Noir Caesar. I know you've also worked with the guys that did Teflon Flunk as well. What is it like in Japan running an animation studio as a person of color and creating diversity? Because that's generally what Day Art Stagio is about, correct? Or
No, that you're correct. You're absolutely right. Like that is what they are. It's about like we just want to tell. Um, you know, I actually so I always kind of I don't know. Like now I don't even like the word diversity because I feel like everyone just throws it around without it even meaning anything. And it almost sounds like they're just saying token, 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 token. And so I don't. So now it's weird, man. But like, so what we do stand for though is um, just being able to tell stories from a broad spectrum of cultures and through the medium of anime, and then also just having creatives from that same broad spectrum being able to tell any story that they want without having restrictions pressed upon them about what type of stories they should be telling, right? And so because I feel like that's the thing, right? Like when we have to kind of oh, okay, you're black. Can you tell us this kind of story? Can you make an anime about slaves, or can you make an anime about this? Like, can I just tell another kind of anime? Can I make another story? So like that, I think that's kind of what we kind of stand for. And if I'm rambling, just always stop
oh
me.
no, I
I
mean
have
no,
a
I mean I honestly I'm just taking everything in, and you know I'm kind of curious. So, does the Japanese public, even though you're making different types of stories, I'm someone I love Japanese culture. Well, we both do. I mean, obviously, in what we all do. But is there a certain perception, like do you feel as though do you just get people abroad, like foreigners, who are receptive to a lot of the original content you guys make, or are you actually pulling in viewers or people who are interested within Japan as well?
so it's interesting. Like right now, oh yeah, sorry. And then I guess I didn't even answer your first question, so I'll just kind of combine the two together. Like being like out here in Japan, like as a black person in Japan, and even having a studio out here in Japan, that I haven't really felt that there's been like any, like there's been no negativity towards that. Like like when I sit in the room and there's like we're talking with other directors from like even when we're working on Sound of Fury, so big names and things like that. Like no one ever says, "Oh, here's a black guy," right? Like no, like it's never that. Okay, cool. Here's the work. This is what we're doing. Like and so that I've always kind of really always felt that. Like if anything, it's always been like as long as you understand our culture, this is how anime is created. Do you create it the way we do? Oh, you do. Cool. Let's do the next thing. And that's always been how I felt. And I felt that same way with how our company's reception is here. Everyone, like all the students that we work with, they look at our work. Oh, okay, cool. You guys create anime the way that we do. All right, then here's a whole bunch of work. Here's a whole bunch of One Piece. Because here's a whole bunch of this. All right, we already know you guys are gonna do it. Just thanks. Here's our schedule. And then your the question you just asked now. I think like actually now I forgot where I was going with that. what I wanted to say. But can you answer your last question one more time?
So, you, as far as being able to, I guess, connect with the Japanese audience, what more
Yeah.
so, like, how do you, because obviously, I really enjoy what you guys are putting out. Like, I'm letting you know I'm a fan,
Yeah,
of what you
yeah.
guys are doing right now.
Mhm.
But I'm kind of wondering, with you guys being stationed in Japan rather than being stationed, let's say, for example, within the States, how are you connecting with the audience there as
So
well?
right, and that's interesting because our our target audience, I guess, it, it's always kind of been foreigners and like blur community and just kind of the Western community, that like just Americans in general. Like we've done a lot of stuff for Germany and France and of course America and work with companies in Canada, and so we've always kind of targeted the West, I think, and and maybe now we might start to kind of shift that like as we're working with on Japanese content. So of course we're working with Japan on Japanese content, but our studio isn't directly producing anything for Japan. And although we're working on Japanese content, but that's another studio's production, right? And um,
So,
so
so I'm kind of
I don't really have
curious.
the answer yet.
So I'm kind of curious, like as far as like, for example, like we sat down with Nick Ivy,
Okay.
Nicholas Draper Ivy recently. Like
Mhm.
I would say, what was it, 2 episodes ago? So this is
Mhm.
probably about 2 months ago.
Okay.
And we talked a little bit about the project, like Exogenesis, which I like, what you guys have been putting out with that, or and how it turned out. I saw the teaser for it.
Mhm.
As far as when you're working with creatives in terms of their creative like ambitions,
Mhm.
how does that process work to make sure that everyone meets their vision as far as the project is concerned?
Well, it's difficult because of course everyone can never meet their vision, and that's just reality of it, right? And so I feel uh, like everyone who works in the industry, who understands industry, realizes that, or either accepts it or they don't accept it, and then so you see that even in Hollywood, right? Like you have directors who quit or whatever, right? And this I didn't get my director's cut, right? My director's edit or something like that, and so we're like I think with everyone that will always be the challenge, and that'll probably be a challenge forever. But of course, like no person sits down and says, "What did that person say? I don't care." Like that. That is not. That would never be that. That's never the thing, right? You always try to have a conversation, but then there's a whole bunch of heads who all have opinions, and you have to try to find a middle ground. And so with for us, like when we're working with different people, like we work with Sergio Simpson, we work with working with Adidas, we work with all these different people, and right now with the products we're working with right now, we have like maybe the person who might have drew something, and you have the person who might have wrote something, and you have the person who's selling something, and then you have the person who's paying for it, and then they all sit down, and all of them have a vision, and all of their vision is different, and then what we have to do is find a middle ground, and that's a challenge and that will always be a challenge, and that's a challenge that we accept, and then we like, and sometimes we'll hit a home run, and sometimes we won't, right? And then
So
we have to just move on. Yeah.
were there any challenges with like the Exogenesis project, like in terms of like the vision, like in terms of
So
the tone of the story?
when we started off with EXO, like there was a producer, and of course we spoke with Johnny and everyone, and I think whenever one of the initial things is that with all content, like you have to first decide who your demographics will be, and then that would then determine the tone, right? And so we we don't choose the demographics. It's the people who are hiring us that choose it. And the initial, like when they had the conversation, the demographics that they decided to go with was for um, teens. So the manga is for a much older audience. You know, it's very dark, very graphic, the language and everything. But one of the producers was like, well, like, this is the audience that we're going to be trying to present. Like there is such thing as TV at the time, and now adult anime is popular, but it wasn't right at that time, and so
Well, yeah.
like very like the type of animation that you could be watching on TV, there's things that you just can't put on broadcast television, right, or on streaming network, and so and those are just real concerns that people have, and so they made the choice that we're doing it from that we're gonna the demographics is this, which then means this is the tone. And then once this is the tone, then now you take everything and you shoot it through that vision. And so and that's kind of how that was. And but like with the benefit of hindsight, like and now we have like where it's like true, like there's our company ourselves, like there are we don't, like, although we are working on One Piece and things like that, where we help other studios, but our goal is just really adult oriented content actually. And so like it's just like this balance of like, okay, what is our company's voice? What will it be? Can we have a stronger voice at this time? Should we have had a stronger, like, or should we have like really just stuck with what was there? But you always, hindsight is 2020, and it is, it's a growing experience, right? That's kind of how.
Oh no, definitely. I can agree with that. So I know we're running close to the end of our time here, but I kind of want to like make sure that we wrap this up, with some really interesting, I guess you could say, really interesting direction to this. So I'm kind of curious as far as what De Art Stagio's goals are in terms of like, of course, being, even though you said it's like a broad term, like diversity, right? You know, is there any personal like projects? Because I'm sure everyone at the studio has to have a personal project that they have in mind that they want to work at. Especially, with you being, the animation director, I'm sure you have your own Ghost in the Shell project. Not like literally Ghost in the Shell, but your own project that you want to get out there. So, what can we expect to see in terms of that project moving forward? What exactly is it, and what is the end game for De Art Stagio?
So, let's see. So the end game, there's, I guess there's never an end game, right? Like, so ideally, like perhaps like ideally we want to have a company that's just around forever and that's constantly producing something, right? So you make something, make something, make something, make something, and then 100 years later you're having your 100th year anniversary and you're still making stuff. And then so with that said, I think that of course we have content that we want to create, and we're constantly trying to figure out. I don't know, like we're constantly trying to figure out what is our who we are, right? Who is what
Like your
is
identity.
our stature? Yeah, what is our identity? Like like a lot of people can like kind of list off like Disney is this and Madhouse is this and Production IG is this and this and so we're still trying to find that for ourselves, and it's difficult. So I guess that's one of our goals, because the difficulty of that is really easy for people to kind of throw out those names. I want to make Ghost in the Shell, and I want to make this, or I want to make whatever, Into the Spider-Verse. But then you're like, oh yeah, how much did that cost? Do you have that much money? Oh no, so you're not gonna have that. So like, 'cause that's just the reality, right? And it's like Ghost in the Shell, that took how many years to make, and how much did it cost? So and then so we understand that, and so it's like the goal would be to be able to have that the proper budget so that we can then explore our creativity fully and with an unbright, where it's like our uninhibited, where we can really then say this is what the art stands for, and then probably until we do have that, we will never be able to really say this is what we stand for. But so as we each day, because our saying is like Stage ga Daiji, the foundation is important. Everything we do is always leading towards that, though, like with what we currently have.
But
And so
is there a particular project that you guys are going to be like unleashing on it soon? Like I want to see Shtajio put out your all like big movie where I'm
yeah,
going to the theater and I'm like, dang, like I've been waiting for this. Like you're like almost like on some
yeah,
Studio Ghibli levels. Obviously that costs a lot of money, but I'm
yeah.
sure y'all are gonna get there.
Well, yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, like I think when you're just as you'll be waiting in line for that, I'll be waiting in line for that too. But like so that like, well, we have content and story ideas and things that right now we're pitching, and so I always say if the sooner that you guys want to see that, the way that we'll be able to see that is for the fans to kind of say like, to show support and to always follow us and to like, to kind of be there behind the art, because if people are these studios who are picking up our content or whatever, well then, the Netflixes and all these different streaming services will give us the money to do that. Like right now we have some pretty interesting originals that we're pitching, which I think represent not that the story represents what we are, because it's just a story, but I think it like
Anything to
visually and
Crunchyroll?
excuse me.
Anything to Crunchyroll? Like, are you guys gonna
Oh
be?
well, I can't really actually tell you who we're pitching to.
Hey, I have to
But
ask.
yeah, but we're it's a broad spectrum. And thanks to everyone, everyone's interest in our company recently, all of our fans and everyone, like you guys who are spreading the good word. If they are that, we're getting a lot of calls, so from some interesting companies. Yeah,
I
and
see.
so hopefully everyone will be able to see something from us soon.
I see. Well, I know our time has run out here, and of course we want to respect your time so you can make sure you put out great anime for us to all see. Hopefully, oh, and that's actually Exogenesis and the Exogenesis anime right there. Also, another project that they're working on, one of their original projects right here as well, and of course their mascot as well, and their music video
Yeah.
that you just seen come up on the screen. Make sure you check out the Day Art Stagio YouTube channel. All of their pages. We're gonna link them down below so you guys can check them out. Definitely, they have animation. They do vlogs. So if you want to learn a lot about how animation works, or just chop it up with them, you'll want to make sure you check out those pages as well. Before we head out, I also want to say too, hopefully at some point, like if you guys have another time, we can sit down with you, talk a little bit more. We do manga, so it would be awesome to have maybe a video where maybe we're all chopping it up about the process between manga and animation. Which is something
That's
I've.
that's a good idea. That's actually a really good idea. Because I feel like a lot of the creatives, and go over a little bit, but like I feel like a lot of people who are making manga and things like that don't understand the process of like how this within, uh, how does this get turned into this? Because you see it with Disney movies, they take graphic novels and they turn it into animation. It's not the same, right? Like it's such a different thing.
Oh
And
yeah.
but and so so I feel like a lot of manga creators have like the not the wrong idea, but like because I get it, I understand it. Like it's like your vision and you love it, but it's just such a different medium. And then I feel like the mediums need to be respected as just being different mediums, and different things.
Exactly. And
But
adaptation is not exact. Everything doesn't work in the same medium. Some stuff is
yeah,
mixed.
exactly.
So
And yeah, so I think that's a really good idea. It'd be really great to circle back and we do that kind of podcast. That'd be fun, and maybe we can have a few of our other people joining on that as well. And thank you for your guys' time. Sorry we couldn't talk
oh no, I
more.
understand. Like I said, like you guys got to do your thing. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you're new to Shining Otaku, just go ahead and hit subscribe if you like interviews, if you like manga tutorials about writing or anything of the full 9 yards. Go ahead and hit that down below and hit the bell so that you get any updates. And make sure you check out all the Day Art Stagio pages so that you can keep up with any of the animation projects they have coming up,
Yes,
guys.
we have like something. We're working with really big artists and a big client right now too. We're doing 2 productions right now. They'll be coming out very shortly, and so I think it'll be interesting. So please follow us.
All right. Well, thanks guys for watching. We'll see you all later. Shining Lights. See you later.
Okay, peace.